Hello and welcome to Newsclick. Today we have with us Mamdouh Habbashi, who is the Vice President of the Socialist Party of Egypt and has been very active in the politics of Egypt from the left for a very long time. Mamdouh, good to have you in India and with us.
Thank you.
Egyptian elections are supposedly around the corner. We have had Tunisian elections as well recently. Do you think that after the revolution, which we have discussed earlier, that we are now likely to see the scenario that counter-revolution will take control of what has happened?
No, we didn't expect never that such kind of elections could be the representative or the savior of the movement, which we still don't call the revolution yet. It's just the expression used on the street, because revolution means to change the structures of power that have been existing during the decades of Mubarak and Sadat. But now we expect that the new parliament, which will be elected soon, will be occupied mainly by those whom we call the counter-revolutionary camp. I can summarize this counter-revolutionary camp by few words. Let us say those who have the money now, and it's not specifically Egyptian that money has a real impact in the results of this kind of elections. But in the case of Egypt today, the next elections, money is playing the main factor.
Mamdouh, but that's one part of it. The other part of it is the Muslim Brotherhood is the most well-organized political force on the ground. So in that sense, like Ennahda did in Tunisia, isn't it likely that out of this electoral politics which is happening now in Egypt,
Yes,
that the Muslim Brotherhood would probably be the one which would seize power?
not alone, because I have spoken of a camp, and the Muslim Brotherhood is one part of this camp, one major player in this camp, but not all the Islamists are Muslim brothers. We have within this camp, we have some blocks according to their ideological background. The Islamists as a bloc consists of the Muslim Brotherhood and the Salafists and some minor Islamic groups also. The Salafists are also well organized and quite powerful, although they started to appear in the political scene in Egypt after the revolution. No? Before the revolution, nobody has, in the mainstream, nobody has heard about them. They were mainly in tight cooperation with the Ministry of Interior during Mubarak time. And the other members of this pact of the counter-revolution camp are, for instance, the liberal conservatives together. These are
business interests who
Yes,
were outside
yes,
the Mubarak
yes,
formations
exactly.
earlier, but have accumulated a lot of power because of the money.
The Egyptian bourgeoisie, in general, they have a group of parties now. Some of them, most of them have been founded after the revolution. Called themselves Social Democrats and whatever names, and the Egyptian liberals and so on. They are representing a very clear line in terms of neoliberal policies. Also the Islamists, they are also following a completely neoliberal line, and the other member of this camp are the Mubarakists, who are still in power and still occupying the office and still having the resources of the country or the resources of the state. And it did not the movement did not succeed in preventing them from following the same course and from infiltrating the conservative and liberal parties and forming even their own parties. They have founded 8 new parties after the movement.
Mamdouh, the other part of it is that the military, though Mubarak left, but the military apparatus really did not change. And military is tacitly seems to be in alliance with the Brotherhood today, Muslim Brotherhood today, if not with other elements. And after the attack on the Coptic demonstration that we saw, where there was rioting, a lot of Coptic people were killed, do you think that this represents a new configuration of forces in Egypt and therefore a threat to the revolution or the gains of the democratic upsurge that took place?
The military council is nothing but the representative of the old regime. It's part of the old regime. It has started just after the step down of Mubarak and after the takeover of power by the military council, started a new role, which is not a battlefield, but a political role with a very clear target, which is to keep as much as possible from the old structures. The military council, as a part of the old regime, is dealing with the Muslim Brothers also as a part of the old regime. They have never been a real opposition because they have never wanted to change anything of the old structure. They wanted to share the cake. That's it. And now they are sharing the cake by giving the military council what it needs, and the military council give them what they need.
So Mamdouh, what has changed? Millions of people were on the streets, they have sacrificed lives, they have brought in a whole change in the public perception, but what has really changed on the ground and what are the hopes for the future?
Let me tell you that the main change is in the consciousness of the masses. They have suddenly discovered the power, that they are capable to move mountains when they want, when they unite and concentrate their strike in one point. So this has changed, and I think the masses, this is our hope also, and the source of our optimism for the future, that they have continued the movement despite all attempts from the regime, from the military council, by releasing laws to criminalize whatever protest movement and so, but they continue. And until today, you can find everywhere in the country, on all levels, strikes and protest movements and demonstrations claiming something. And this is a new dimension because these claims start to become political claims. It's not only that they ask for something local, I mean in the national level local, but now they are claiming things like stop privatization, claiming like, hey, we have to get our sold companies back, the companies that the state has sold to the private sector in this hysterical movement of privatization throughout the last 30 years. The courts have declared these kinds of business for illegal. So the people are now claiming to get this back, and they are claiming democracy, and they are claiming their right to organize themselves. So we have accordingly a new, very promising movement of independent unions, which was before the revolution something difficult to achieve. We had just one union which could achieve this independence before the Mubarak step down, it was 3 years ago, by a series of strikes and strikes on the streets of many thousands and so on. So now we have over 100 new unions.
So what you're saying is that the major gain is the consciousness of the people that they can change society, A. And second is the ability to organize protests and also new organizations like New Trade Unions. These are the two major gains which are going to stay, and this is what gives you hope for the future?
Exactly. That means we consider the next parliament elections not like the camp of the counter-revolution would like to see it as the end of the movement. We consider it just the beginning of the movement. This is the main difference. And they consider it the end of legitimacy, and we consider it only one legitimacy and their own legitimacy, and it's not the legitimacy of the movement itself, because this legitimacy, which we call it parliament, is not going to solve any of the problems or to accept any of the demands that have been raised during the movement.
Coming back to the issue of the kind of party movement that you have been leading, 4 left parties have come together in Egypt now, working in an alliance. Do you think that this constitutes a new left pole in Egyptian politics?
That is our hope. We call it, this is our target. And I think we have the chance because we feel also the huge potential within the people. They are seeking us and they feel the difference. But the main obstacle in our movement today is the missing of the necessary infrastructure. You know, the main difference now in the power, in the influence between the counter-revolution camp and the left, which I call the only camp which is representing the demands of the revolution, is that all the others, they are heavily supported by the Gulf or by the United States or by the EU or by the Egyptian bourgeoisie, heavily supported, or by the state itself, like in the case of the Mubarakists. So all of them don't have the problem of the necessary infrastructure, only the left. It's like if you want to have this picture visualized, it's like we have started a race but with very unfair starting conditions. No? So this is the picture, the image today. No? But I think we can overcome that in the future. The time is on our side. That's our hope. No?
Thank you very much, Mamdouh. Good to have you with us and hope to see you again.
Thank you. Thanks to you.